Welcome back. It's been a while. I have left the gym since that last terrible session a few weeks back. Today, we're finally back to doing some work in the gym. So obviously, as a lot of you will know, around 6 weeks ago, I had a bad squatting session, which was the end of a terrible week of training, which ended up me tearing my quad and getting rhabdomyolysis. Now, recovery from that has been very, very successful, although in the interim, in nearly 2 months, I did manage to get a subluxation on my shoulder from doing an idiotic jump into a swimming pool. But in the meantime, my bloods have come back. I'm all clear. I've gotten 3 sets of bloods done in the weeks after the kind of kidney injury, and everything is good. So I'm good to return to training, which is great. I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Now, the main thing for today's vlog is talking about how to maybe find a better balance. So obviously, before I was training for the 5-minute mile and 500-pound squat, everything was going pretty well, but right now, we're going to change slightly, still be training towards that, but definitely the aggressiveness or the slope of that line of progression is going to change a small bit. So today's session is very, very simple. We just did an hour and a half of jiu-jitsu training. What I'm doing this morning is testing 2 workouts that are about to go on the app for 2 of the newer programs. So one of them, the initial part of the session, is going to be what's referred to as Sika strength body armor. It's upper body bodybuilding. This is mainly as rehab for my shoulder and just getting me back so my shoulders are in a bit better shape for jiu-jitsu and as well for squatting. So obviously, as I was losing a lot of weight, I did no upper body strength training at all, which led to a few more niggles and stuff that shouldn't have been happening from just normal jiu-jitsu training and my squatting and running. So that's the first thing, that's the first priority. And then the second part is for a separate program that's going to be going on the app probably in around 3 or 4 weeks, and that is HIIT training. So obviously we have the running programs, the rowing programs up at the moment. I've 1 or 2 more streams of that HIIT program I just want to get fully dialed in. And so, yeah, this is a bit of background of how those programs happen, how we develop them, how we work on them. So yeah, you're going to see those sessions out today. Deficit push-ups and some rear delt flies. So both of these movements for me right now, with my shoulder in the condition it's in, are going to be what I would class as challenging or moving towards challenging. So it should be good. I've been getting physio once or twice a week, or physical therapy once or twice a week on my shoulder, and it's improving a lot. For this bodybuilding work, rather than pulling out a massive amount of plates, I like to reuse the dumbbells. To get a bit of extra deficit in there, rather than having to cart all those plates back with me again. Now, in terms of rest times in between these, I like to take around 60 seconds for most of the accessories. Doesn't need much more than that. They're not very heavy, they're not difficult to do, and as well help build a bit of work capacity, get me a little bit fitter. So rear delt flies are one of those things we get questions about quite a lot on the app. How heavy should I go? How quickly should I do the reps? How much body English should I use? And as always, there's a bit of an it depends. I like a bit of body English. For me, the main thing is that upper back extension. I'll show you a side-on view here, maybe from a bit higher up. But I really like that upper back extension, particularly for the lower traps. So it's quite easy to get rear delts on a rear delt fly. It's quite easy to get the upper traps on a rear delt fly if you're kind of shrugged up or let your shoulders come up a bit, but those lower traps for me are a bit more important. So as extended as I can make my upper back. And that's the first superset done. Yeah. So up next we've got seal rows and barbell curl. At the moment, I've no idea what my bench press is, but I don't really need to go and test my bench press. I have a rough idea. I'll probably do 100 for a few reps. It's nowhere near what an old 1RM would have been, but for this right now, to start, just going to put in 100 kilos as a max, even though that's probably around 90%. So 25% in each hand, and then we're using 20% for a barbell curl afterwards. Just going to double check the reps. 5 sets of 8 plus 12. So this is another really important aspect of these sessions. You'll have seen me answering emails on my phone. You'll have seen me taking some phone calls already. And the major thing with this and changing the speed of this progression in programming now is just de-emphasizing the intensity or reducing the intensity a small bit of these sessions, de-emphasizing the importance of these sessions. So obviously we all like to take ourselves seriously, take our training seriously. But if every training feels like 100%, then no training session is 100%. So the big thing with these, obviously, make sure they're very efficient, make sure those rest times are low. But another massive aspect for me, I'm going to work after this. Another massive aspect is making sure you're not massively mentally draining. Obviously coming in and doing heavy squats takes a bit more, doing really hard running sessions, a bit more, really hard interval sessions, a bit more, but not every day has to be like that. Some days, you're just gonna do your rows, do your curls. Then in between, get my last set of plates and stuff cleaned up. Came to another realization during these last few weeks. Getting that balance right, making sure the intensity is being moderated throughout the week and throughout the sessions. But the other major thing is that my approach all along was essentially incredibly reductive. So if I'm training for two big things at the same time, cutting everything else out. And that's what I did. Try and be as light as possible, just do the squats. And it makes sense to some point. But obviously concurrently with all of this other stuff, there was other training going on, other stresses going on, other things taking my time away from me. So rather than trying to bury my head in the sand with it and just cut everything else out, this is the direction I'm moving. So still going to be squatting, still going to be running, but these sessions, a bit more bodybuilding, making sure I don't hurt myself when doing jiu-jitsu, making sure my back stays strong, which the core work at the end of today's session will certainly help with that. And just making sure, generally speaking, I'm overall in good health, rather than just trying to hold on with my fingertips for dear life. It'll take a bit longer, definitely, but I'm positive when I come to the end of this training block, I'll be in much better shape. And hopefully, I won't have to cut out so many things all at one time. So more controlled, more measured, and hopefully a bit more well-rounded as well, because the noodle arms were becoming even more noodly. And when you're sitting next to a horse like Garth all day, you can't be leaving him away with it. You can't look like somebody on the news show who's dying of starvation all the time. On to the final tri-set. So the last set for the accessories, sit-ups, flutter kicks and planks. In this case, I really don't want to take a break in between these. I shouldn't have to take a break. My midline capacity should be good enough. Or at least I hope it's good enough. So ideally speaking, 5 sets, sit-ups, flutter kicks, planks. 6, 10, 30. I'm just going to put a timer running basically the whole time.
Well, my grandpa still remembers when that pole went in the ground. That was the day they strung together everything in town.
There was a time where every sit-up you did in the CrossFit gym had to have an ab mat. But one thing they're very good for is stopping you from rolling around on the floor. So I find as I'm doing sit-ups, they oftentimes tend to scoot backwards. That tri-set at the end took around 8.5 or 9 minutes, which is pretty much perfect. I started that hypertrophy session 33 minutes ago. So it's pretty much exactly what we want. It's a good bit of testing. Nice efficient session. So on to some aerobic work next. Okay, so this is going to be 3 rounds of 20 seconds on, 40 seconds off. Air squats, inchworms, barbell push press and sit-ups, barbell push press. Okay. So for this, we want to keep moving pretty consistently throughout the entire thing. For that reason, just going to go very light on the barbell push press. I'm not going to have my shoes on. We're not really looking for the heaviest, most explosive push press here. Just kind of consistent movement throughout. This will take me 12 minutes. Obviously, there's a lot of rest in this. As we go on through the program, it kind of goes to 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off, and so on. And yeah, this is just a bit of general conditioning work. Now, there's one more workout to test here. It won't be programmed in that session on that program, but just one more I need to test. For conditioning sessions such as this, my big thing obviously is making sure you have some bit of cardiovascular warm-up done. Now, this morning I've come straight from jiu-jitsu. Obviously I've cooled down a little bit in between, but realistically speaking, plenty of cardio warm-up done, bit of bodybuilding work done then afterwards, so I wouldn't be too concerned about not being fully warmed up. So I'm going to get pretty much straight into it. Air squats, push presses, sit-ups, inchworms. It's all good, nice, moderate loading, moderate exercise. I'm also going to set myself up next to the gear I have to put away. So as I'm going through the workouts and I'm in my rest period, I'm just going to be putting away the bench, putting away the dumbbells, putting away the plates, and so on. So the rule with something like an inchworm, if I come up after second rep or third rep and it's still not at 20 seconds, you start the next rep. We don't finish at 17 seconds, we just keep going. Once I stand up and we've gone over 20 seconds, then we're all good. So for the push presses next time, just got the kettlebells out. It's not massively restrictive in the rack position, it doesn't really aggravate it in the rack position, but even overhead, if I have a bit more of that free range of motion, should help a lot. Some much better reps on that round. 17 or 18 reps in your 20 seconds is a good aim to have for those air squats. Obviously for inchworms, they take a bit longer, but 3 inchworms in the 20 seconds is pretty much where you want to be aiming. Nice, you can see here there's a line on the mat. I think these are maybe 2 meter mats, 1.8 meter mats, but just aiming for that same line every time. The GoPro's dead. You're now plugged into the wall as it's videoing. Let's hope it stays on this time. Okay, I was halfway through an explanation of my training, but let's do it again. So, when I stopped training last time, this is roughly what the week looked like. So I'd squat here, that would be day 1, and then day 2 would either be on a Thursday or over the course of the weekend somewhere. This worked quite well for the squats. I don't think that needs a massive change. Now, what probably does need a bit of a change, or maybe just a little bit of a shift, is every other day I was running, and then even on the squat days I was running as well. So obviously we talked about those intensity of those running sessions fluctuated. Some of them were longer. It wasn't a massive issue, but just in combination with everything else, it was a bit too much. And then of course, BJJ in here was taking its toll as well. So now I'm going to go for a little bit more of a different structure. The first thing, as I was looking back, I realized pretty much every Monday that I trained was terrible. So Monday is just going to be a rest day. It's really busy at work. It's really busy at home. It's better off if I do nothing on a Monday because it tends just to destroy me and kind of sets me on a poor path for the rest of the week. Now, Tuesday morning sessions are going to keep BJJ and Thursday morning sessions are going to keep it. It works really well. I really like the structure of it. But rather than doing my heavy squats here and in the morning when I'll have to really get myself amped up to do them, I'm going to do a session of bodybuilding and that little bit of conditioning like you saw this morning. So now both of those nice light days of training. Now you have 2 sessions in the morning, but these 2 sessions are lighter, they're easier. In the BJJ sessions, they're very technically orientated. And of course, as you just saw, these bodybuilding and conditioning sessions are super easy. So how will I structure the rest of my week? How will I get the rest of those squats in? So I'm going to have to keep squatting. Obviously I want to squat something reasonably heavy, but what I'm going to do is have around 4 days of rest in between the squat sessions. So squats are probably going to be on a Wednesday evening and then one of the days at the weekends. So both of these days I have a lot of time. I can do them at my own leisure in the evening. I can do them if I'm working on the house. I can do them if I'm working late in the office. It doesn't really make a difference. Now the last change I'm going to make is that with the running sessions, I'm just going to do 2 quality running sessions a week and 1 interval style session. So I'm probably going to do a run here and I'm probably going to do a run here. Now, this leaves me the option of maybe having an interval here, maybe having an interval here, or on Saturday or Sunday. The week now is a lot more open. Hopefully it should fit in a hell of a lot better to the structure of my overall week. And hopefully I won't run to kidney failure again or a quad tear. Thanks very much for watching another training vlog. We'll be back on pretty much a weekly basis from now on, now that I'm back at the tip top of my health. And hopefully you'll be seeing another good training block running into another mental attempt at something very silly. Thanks very much for watching. If you want training sessions like the one you just watched, or if you want a big squat like you've seen on the channel many times, go check out the Sika Strength app. You can try it for free. It's a 7-day trial. All you have to do is cancel at the end of the 7 days and you're good to go. You're not charged. You can take a look at all the programs. There's a movement library in there. You have a coach bot that's been trained on the last 60 years of Sika Strength content. So that coach bot has a lot of information if you ask it the questions. And as well, you get weekly video feedback and technical analysis on your lifts through the members group. So once you sign up, you just get added into the members group. You submit your videos every Tuesday, and me and Owen give you coaching feedback on your snatch, your clean and jerk, your back squat, your bench press, your jumps, your drop jumps, your sprints, all of that great stuff.